are the New York Knicks. I'm back in the New York groove. Well, it's the Knicks. New York. We are the New York Knicks. New York. For this new season we're about to enter, the Knicks taking no shorts, it's like winter. New York, New York.
It must be about the Knicks, huh?
What's the best thing about New York City is
K-N-I-C-K. Everybody say go New York, go New York, go!
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 419 of the New York Knicks podcast, part of the Almighty Baller Podcast Network and Dash Radio. I am Jay, and no Mark today. We have Martin. How you doing, Martin?
Hey everybody. Hey Jay, what's going on?
It sounds like you got some stuff going on in your house right now.
Like what, yelling and screaming?
Yes.
You want me to tell them to shut up? They're actually excited about the Knicks team.
Everyone's excited about this Knicks team. They're coming off of that was 10 years ago. No, they are actually have lost 3 in a row, and they're terrible.
Oh.
Yeah.
I had no idea because I stopped watching about 3 months ago. I'm just kidding. Well, that's not true. That's actually pretty accurate. They're horrible. It's really bad.
I do have to say, though, this week we had...
Well, they're competitive.
Well, we had the Trey Burke game. 42 points from Trey Burke. I mean...
but
something.
Is there such thing as garbage time in a season as opposed to in a game, though? Like, does it count when really it doesn't matter and they're just experimenting? Does it really count?
I mean, at least he's trying, and I don't know. I'm happy to have him back next year. Yeah,
I guess so. I don't know. I just feel like when the chips are pushed to the middle of the table, these guys, I don't think when they're in contention, are they really going to show up? I mean, Tim Hardaway is streaky, right? And you got Trey Burke. I mean, I don't think he's a starter. I think he's a bench guy.
Well, the Knicks are doing it the opposite way. Usually you build your starting 5 and then you fill in the bench around it. The Knicks are building their bench and they'll figure out the starters at some point in the future.
Yes. Everything's backwards. And you know what's crazy? Like, I know you don't talk about hockey on here, right? But I compare the other team that they share the building with, right? They admitted the season's over. We're getting rid of everybody. We're going to try and get draft picks. We're going to build for the future. They were full disclosure, and they did exactly what they said that they were going to do. Whether it's going to work, who knows? But at least they have a plan. This, I don't know what the plan is. Like, what are we doing? Like, are we going to build through the D League, or G Leagues, whatever it's called? It doesn't make any sense, and they don't even know how to tank right. It's really bad. Like, I know they don't want to, they're out there, they're trying to win. These players are trying to make a name for themselves for next year and all that, but I feel like the Mavericks and the Grizzlies have figured out how to tank right. And
the players are never going to lose on purpose. You have to put the players in a position where they can't win.
Well, why not call up all Westchester? Just bring them up and play them.
Isn't that what they're doing? I mean, we're playing Cornette, Hicks, Williams, and Burke. Like 4 out of the 8 guys that play.
But still, these other guys still get time. Like, they should never, like Tim Hardaway, the amount of money he's making, which is way too much anyway, he should never see the floor. Save him for next year. It's almost like when you have like a pitcher in baseball and you're out of contention, just shut him down. Like, they did it with Jarrett Jack. I mean, but Jarrett Jack should just retire at this point, but I don't know.
With Hardaway, I think he needs to get good at some point or the Knicks are just doomed. And so I don't have a huge problem with him playing right now because he's not been good.
Right.
So, like, I feel like he needs to learn how to get good, and he might as well on a 50-loss team.
True. By the way, are you still hearing background noise? 'Cause I'm going to go...
Very little. It's not,
all right.
Well,
people... Phil, literally 20 seconds, I'm going to shut the door and tell them to be quiet because our listeners love children, I'm sure, and want to just hear that. So hang on one sec.
So, Martin is going to go murder his family, and then everything will be nice and quiet. And then we can get on with the show. while he's gone, I will
There's
say
the professional podcast. I'm back.
Oh,
That's
okay.
right.
All right.
Bringing professionalism to your podcast by.
That was a quick series of murders.
So sorry, interrupted.
No, that's all right. That's all right. Well, with the Burke 42-point game, he also had 12 assists. I mean,
It was well. You know what? The fact that you get 12 assists with this team is pretty impressive. And who are you passing to? But and I was actually looking. I've never really looked at these. There's a advanced stats portion of NBA.com, and like the Knicks are not in the top 10 in just about everything, which is impressive. Like they suck almost every. Even the Nets show up in the top 10 in some categories. Not the Knicks. Not. I think one turnover percentage. Is that what it was? Yeah, they're number 10 in the league.
great. That's what I look for in a team.
Well, they don't turn it over because they're one and done out of the offense. Actually, sorry, offensive rebounding they're good at. That's probably because of Cantor. He's really good
that's
at it.
pretty much all Cantor, I think.
Yeah, maybe O'Quinn, I guess, right? Is he good at that? I guess he might be.
Yeah. I mean, O'Quinn actually started last game against Detroit.
Yep.
And he had, he had 4 offensive rebounds, but he had 15 rebounds total.
Well, he's too busy getting pissed at Jeff Hornacek, I think, is the problem.
Yeah, is this like the makeup game? Because after he got yelled at, he didn't play at all, and now he's starting and playing 32 minutes. So I guess they made nice.
So who have you guys talked about? My apologies if I missed it, but who do you think the next coach is going to be? Because obviously I don't think Hornacek's back next year. No way.
I'd be very surprised if Hornacek was back next year. Yeah, you never know what the Knicks are going to do. That's the thing. I mean,
Mark Jackson, is that the right choice?
I've been hearing Mark Jackson. I don't think it's the right choice. He did not think Draymond Green was very good.
True. Well, problem with Draymond Green, let's face it, though, he is a hothead. I mean, he's a great player, but he does cost his team some valuable points against with his technical problems and stuff. But
He does, but I mean,
that team has got a curse on it now with all the injuries.
There's a couple teams that just got demolished. The Spurs and the Warriors just got destroyed, and the Celtics just getting destroyed.
The Celtics are making a run again.
I know.
Brad Stevens, man, it's got to be him. I mean, the guy's a genius.
So, well, that's what I was thinking with coaching. Maybe you can try it. I know a lot of times it hasn't worked with college coaches, but I feel like recycling.
Utah.
Yeah. I feel like recycling like old failed and ex-NBA coaches isn't a great strategy.
Especially here in New York. I mean, maybe you just got to get like a good, like it worked in Utah, it worked in Boston. Those are the two prototypes where those guys came, and even Oklahoma City to an extent, right? Because their coach came from Florida, Long Islander no less, but Billy Donovan. But so that's 3 coach. And now, could you say Oklahoma City's doing any better under him than Scott Brooks before him? I don't know. I guess they're doing okay, and they're going to make the playoffs. They were playing the Pelicans earlier. I was actually watching that game. It was actually interesting. That guy's amazing. The unibrow man, he's so good.
Oh, Anthony Davis. Yeah.
He's got no help. Cousins is out, right? I mean, he's like, carrying them.
Yeah, it's pretty much him and Drew Holiday, and almost nobody else. It's a really bad team. I didn't even think they would make the playoffs when the season started.
It looks like they are.
Yeah,
and a tough conference. That's the insane part. I mean, I can't even believe the Clippers are still in contention. They're still like, have a shot at it. But that's an interesting race.
You got to give some credit to Doc Rivers for that. I mean, Clippers like pretty much went into tank mode, and they're fighting for the playoff spot. Yeah,
I mean they got rid of their best player. I mean, it helped Detroit, although he's out now. I think he's hurt. But
there's a shocker. Who would have thought Blake Griffin would get hurt?
Well, that's true. But
he got hurt, and then they went on a win streak.
So what do you think, Houston, Boston? Is that the way to go? Is that the best series we can get, you think, for the finals?
I don't like Houston. Maybe
no?
I'm still bitter about 94.
You still have D'Antonitis?
I might still be bitter about 94, but...
that too.
I don't like the whole, like, Harden when he...
You don't trust him?
No, when Harden, basically smacks the ball into the opposing player and they get called for a foul. Like I don't like that garbage.
Oh, I don't like the team. I don't like Chris Paul either. I think he's kind of obnoxious, but
Yeah.
they're really good. I mean, and that offense is tough to stop. But the West is interesting. Minnesota can knock some teams out. You know, Utah is pretty good, surprisingly. I don't know if Denver's going to get in there, kind of on the outside looking in. But I just don't see Golden State's too hurt. I mean, and Kevin Durant has like roid rage or something. I mean, he's one ejection away from a suspension.
Yeah. At least he's back. I think Clay is due back sometime in the next week. And Curry's probably going to miss most of the first round.
Yeah. But,
I mean, if they can get everybody healthy back, they can make some noise.
Sure. I worry about Clay Thompson's hand is the problem. I mean, that's a pretty big, for a shooter. I don't know. That's probably the worst injury you could probably get.
Yeah. Well, apparently he just switched hands and he's been practicing with the other hand just in case.
I mean, isn't that what Markelle Fultz did or something? Like,
yeah.
That's another team with injury problems.
They actually weren't really injured until
recently
broke Embiid's face.
Yeah, against the Knicks, no less. Yeah. And you would have thought like a Knick would have done that to them for some reason, just like share the curse kind of thing. But they did it to themselves. But I don't know. Toronto's always like that quiet team, but I just don't think they have enough to go far. And it's just something they're missing. Something I don't know what it is, but
as long as it's not Cleveland again, I'm okay.
It might be. He's so good. I hate him like a lot.
LeBron,
but he's such a phony, man.
Yeah.
Like I hate when he like acts nice and respect. Like Porzingis is a unicorn. Shut up. You're not genuine. You hate everybody. It's all about you. It doesn't matter, and that's fine. Just embrace it. Be like Kobe Bryant. Be like the killer, right? Like, don't try and like be political. Like you hate everybody, and that's okay.
Yeah, there was a season when he first went to Miami where it looked like he was just going to be like, all right, I'm going to play the villain. But then he seemed like he liked being the good guy better.
Well, we've seen it, like when he walked off against the Celtics and didn't shake anyone's hands and just act like a little baby. He's a little baby. I mean, he has a right to be, I guess, because he's the best player in the game, but maybe of all time. I don't know. It's debatable, but I don't know. I'm tired of him. I agree. I'm not tired of the Warriors, though. The Warriors, to me, are like how I play video games back in the 90s, so I find them interesting. But if they're hurt, I don't know. But San Antonio's too hurt, and the Kawhi's not coming back. I don't think he is.
That's such a weird story.
I want to know what happened. Like, what did he do, or does he have dirt on Popovich? Does Popovich have dirt on him? They have such a weird relationship. It's strange.
So I read last week he was cleared to play.
Yeah.
But he's choosing not to play. So the team had a players-only meeting, and it was kind of like an intervention asking him to play, and he still said no. I don't know what's going on.
I don't get it. I mean, how can he be there next year? I would think they have to move him, but the whole thing's strange. You know who actually I like? I like Portland. I think they're a good team. I think Lillard's so underrated, and he's so good. But I actually like that team. But I don't think they're going to win it, but I think they can cause damage.
I wonder if Melo's having second thoughts about his decision to go to OKC.
You think? I don't know. Like, I think he's just deteriorating. I think he's just getting old. Like, I think if he was like on any other team, I think he would have. At least he's been exposed for the lack of defensive player that clip from a couple of weeks ago where he was like, "Where's the help? Like, where's the help? Help can't help you."
I mean, we all knew he was getting old, but I feel like with Portland is a more well-rounded team.
Right.
Like OKC, he has to be, part of the big three there.
I mean, he should be kind of the sixth man at this point. I mean, like, it's kind of what he is, right? I mean,
yeah.
He stops the ball. Like, in this league, you can't stop the ball anymore. Like, back in the day, you could get away with it. Like, way back in the day, everything is all motion. And Boston does it. Houston does it. Golden State does it. Toronto does. They all do it, and he's offense kryptonite, and they're not gonna. I would be shocked if they get out of the first round. They could be a pain, but because Brett Westbrook's awesome, but
I don't think they get out of the first round.
no way. But I don't know. I think the playoffs are at least a little more interesting this year. It's not like clear cut. It could be Golden State and Cleveland, but I don't think it's that black and white as it's been.
Right. Yeah, that makes it a lot more interesting.
So, which is, I guess, good for Knicks fans who want to watch more basketball and don't want to deal with watching the Knicks. What's left? Like 2 weeks?
Yeah, there's only 5 games left.
So should we predict them and see if they're going to go 0-5 and pray?
Yeah. You know what? The Mavericks are the best tankers. They were.
They're so good at it.
They were
Mark
winning.
Cuban embraced it.
They were winning in the fourth quarter and scored 10 the entire fourth quarter and ended up losing by 11 points.
Well, you know Dirk's on the take. There's got to be some kind of incentive money for him. That's my theory. To like, all right, guys, I'm the leader. We're going to tank. Because they do have, they have a good rookie. I mean, Dirk, I don't think he's going to last another year or two, but they blew it up, and that's fine. There's some good guys coming out. I mean, Brunson looks pretty good if he comes out.
You watch a lot more college than me, so
yeah.
There's some guys in the Knicks range you think look good. Feel free to.
No, because it's going to be the Curry thing again. They're going to miss by a pick. That's what's going to happen. Go back in the archives when I told you Steph Curry was going to. That was the one thing I probably have ever gotten right. I said Steph Curry was going to be awesome, and he ended up becoming awesome, and they whiffed. And who did they get that year?
They got Jordan Hill.
Jordan Hill. Ugh.
And the guy right after Jordan Hill was DeMar DeRozan.
Exactly. Another one. Well, I didn't know about DeMar DeRozan, but that will haunt Knicks fans for years. I mean, one of our friends said, I have to send you this page. It was about all the Knicks mistakes. We've all seen all the pages, but
there's a lot of pages of them.
There's so many. I mean, you could write a novel about it. Oh, it's bad. All right, so who's left? Who do we got? 5 games.
4 home games and an away game. We got home against Orlando.
Oh, that's a tough one.
That's a real tough one.
That's Tankapalooza right there.
Yeah.
They beat in Orlando this year, I want to say. So, oh boy. All right.
Last time they played, they won 120 to 113.
Yeah, they might win that at home too.
Then they got home against Miami.
Miami's playing for something, so they'll lose that. Okay.
Yeah, Miami's in the 8th spot right now, so they want to win.
Yep.
Then they have home against Milwaukee, who is also in the 7th spot.
They are going to get killed.
Yeah.
The Anatep Bowl. That's what I call it. What happened to his brother? Did he go back to Greece?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I like how they're like, oh, we'll draft him. His brother is awesome. He must be good. Nope, we got the crappy version. Yep.
I mean, they did that with JR, too.
Yep.
Then we have home and away with Cleveland, who is also probably going to be playing for position.
What? Yeah, so let me look at the standings, because are they actually going to be, or they may not be. And
Cleveland could go anywhere from 3rd to 5th, and they definitely don't want to end the season at 5th.
No, they want home field or home court or home ice or whatever you want to call it. Yes, they want all that. Let me see.
They're 1 game out of 5th. They're a half a game out of 4th.
Indiana's on their heels.
Yeah.
And Philly.
Yeah.
They can't get second, though. So they're completely pretty much locked out as second or first.
But they're going to be playing for at least home court in the first round.
So if the playoffs started today, they would play Washington, which is a big rivalry.
And Wall's coming back, too. So
yeah. I mean, if they drop, it could be Philly, Indiana, or Washington, or maybe even Milwaukee and Miami could jump up too. It's a lot to be determined.
Yeah,
I don't know. I would avoid Milwaukee. You don't want to play him.
So what do you think? 1 and 4.
I will say Cleveland will not be playing for something in the last game. I will say 2 and 3 because that's how the Knicks tank at 2 and 3 as opposed to 0 and 5. I really believe that because I think at some point Cleveland's going to have they'll have it clinched by then, and they'll know where they are, and they're going to sit Love. They'll sit, he's back because he got hurt too the other day, right? But
Yeah.
they'll sit Love. They'll sit maybe JR even. They'll sit, and LeBron won't play, and they'll rest. I'm telling you, 2 and 3, lock it up.
I would not be surprised at all.
What do you think?
I think they still go 1 and 4, and that one win will be the difference between them moving up to 7th in the tank race and staying in 9th.
I believe. Well, the Bulls are 1 game ahead of them in tank,
and 1.5 for the Nets. So
yeah.
So I think
Orlando
that
is so far below them; they're not going to catch Orlando in tank land. Let's see what else. What's the West look like?
Yeah, no, that's it. They can only get.
Can they catch Sacramento? They could catch Sacramento. No,
they could, but Sacramento would have to win like 4 out of the last 5.
Right. Yeah, they can't catch Dallas, and no one really like the Lakers aren't going to catch them.
No,
and neither is Charlotte. So it's really about Chicago and the Nets if they can kind of leapfrog them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, because Orlando and Atlanta are so bad that they can't be caught. Yeah. Oof. Oh boy. So again, it's like a mediocre. They never are the worst team in the league. As much as they look like the worst team in the league, they're never. Go back to when was the last time they were the worst team ever, like in the league? I don't know.
Well, 3 years ago, they were the worst team until Game 78, and they won a bunch at the end, and that's how the Knicks didn't get Towns.
But that's my point. They've never been. They can't do it. They don't even know how to do that right. And if they were to, they would have traded the pick away anyway.
Either that, or they just wouldn't have drafted Towns. They would have taken like Okafor or something.
No, Frederick Weiss. I think they would draft him again.
Again. He's like, but I'm a baker now. Like,
Vive la France. Who was the other awful one they picked too? They picked a bunch of guys. So bad. I feel like they picked a Greek dude too. Not a Tenakupo, but another one. But listen, would you trade Porzingis? I know you asked that question on Facebook.
Yeah, if I got the right deal, I would definitely consider it because I don't know. I know the guy who's training him says he's going to come back healthier than ever, and
like he's like going to be a better model, right?
He's going to be a cyborg that's invincible and destroy everybody.
Of people.
But I'm really worried. I'm really worried about how he's going to come back.
I think we've seen this before. Right? I love him, right? But the height and the body build, it's a recipe for injury.
And I'm not saying actively look to trade him, but if we could get like Doncic, I think you got to think about that.
Because I think is it Markkanen? He's going to be the better version. I think he may turn out to be the better version of him.
If Markkanen ends up better than Porzingis, then we may have to wrap this.
That's
show
the Bulls guy, right? Who's the Bulls guy?
Yeah, that's the Bulls guy.
Yeah, because he looked pretty good when we played them that one time.
Everybody looks good when they play against that one time. Right? No, but he has looked.
He's had a good year.
Yeah, he's looked better than most people thought he would.
Yeah, but I don't know. So, what I was noticing is their Facebook page for those people who follow it, and we know Facebook's had a bunch of issues anyway. But I followed the Knicks page probably when I first joined Facebook, and I just never stopped following it because like team pages are kind of corny anyway. Mm-hmm. Whoever runs that page, and I don't want to, it's a job and the person makes a living, and that's all well and good. But they talk trash on this page like the Knicks are 70 and like 12. Like every clip is like, oh, look, it's like almost like the Dikembe Mutombo finger wag is every clip. Like, look at us, we just showed you up, LeBron. Like, and we just got blown out by 30. It's like, what are the maybe you want to lay low. We're not that good. And your fans don't want you. Like, it's like, we won. Check it out. Like, no, we don't want to win. I know it's bad, and it's the new school mentality in sports. Like, you want your team to lose if they're horrible, and you want your team to win if they're great. But come on, like, stop. We don't want this team to win. We don't.
I thought it was funny. It was a couple weeks ago when they were playing the Warriors, and they're like, get ready for the battle against the Warriors. And I asked them why the word battle wasn't in quotes.
Did they no response? Of course.
They never respond. I send snarky stuff to them fairly regularly now.
I'm surprised. I some of the time like. I'm surprised I'm not blocked for the. I'm not like belligerent, but it's just like, come on, like your fan, like they're so out of touch with the fan base, and that starts with the top. It starts with the top guy, and even Nate Robinson. He was on the radio a couple weeks ago, and he was kind of beating around the bush, but he was basically saying it starts with Dolan. And it just until he's gone, I just don't know if the culture changes. I really don't. You know, I mean, the bright spots this year, Canner, I think, was better than I thought he would be.
Mm-hmm.
I think Hardaway did, when he played, I thought he was okay. He's better than I expected. I still think he's well overpaid.
So you just described 40% of the Knicks' salary as better than expected and okay. Maybe that's part of the problem.
Yeah, and Porzingis was, I guess, a disappointment because he's out and he didn't play. He got hurt. Well, I would say 20% of it is Joakim Noah.
Yeah,
which is just that's not the current regime's fault. That's that's a Phil Jackson special. But yeah, what are you going to do with him? Like, I don't care what coach you are. How creative can you get? I mean, his career is over. I don't know if you could do the David Wright take insurance thing and get a cap exception.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's Noah's either going to have to retire or maybe they start playing him again. It's not like the Knicks.
Why would he retire? He's walking away from all that money.
I know that's the problem. He would, I guess, have to ask for a buyout for less than the 34, but he has really unless he really wants to just get on the court again. Maybe he's hoping that the next Knicks coach starts playing him again.
Well, I look back at the first game, and do you remember the first game? The fans are going crazy. It was like, oh my God, he's from New York, blah blah blah, and then that was it. It was all downhill from there, and I don't know. I don't blame Hornacek for not playing him. What is he supposed to do? He stinks. you know?
It's such a weird situation because he's not good anymore. Yet he gets paid so much, you almost feel like you have to play him a little bit. Yeah.
Well, at this point, does it really matter? I mean, if you really want to tank, you should play him.
I mean, why not just give him 25 minutes a game? But then you're taking minutes away from young guys. It's like
you want to see the young guy.
There's like no right answer for this, really.
And Moutier's not coming back, right? I mean, there's no way. Right?
I don't know. I wouldn't say no way.
I don't understand, and you guys have probably talked about it, but I know Hernan Gomez fell out of favor and whatever, but he was still young, and he was like a second-team rookie, right, last year.
Yeah, but so bad on defense, he was almost unplayable.
I hear you, but is Moutier any worse for them than he was? Like,
Moutier might be worse on defense.
That's my point. So we traded for this guy, and at least they're playing Moutier. They didn't even give Hernan Gomez a sniff this year. Like, he didn't get any minutes.
Well, we talked about that the other week, how Ntilikina doesn't play a lot of minutes sometimes because the coach is worried about matchups, but then he plays Moutier 35 minutes, who can't cover anybody. So
at least Ntilikina, his calling card is his D. I mean, his offense is never going to be great, right? It'll be serviceable. But, by the way, the other day, random thought, thinking about point guards, Jose Calderon is contributing. Can you believe this on Cleveland?
I didn't even know he was playing again.
He is playing again, and he's hitting threes from LeBron, and he's actually getting minutes in Cleveland. Now, he was horrible here. I thought he was. I don't know if you agree, but
he was really bad, yeah.
Maybe we could bring back, who's the former Laker? He was horrible, too. Foreign guy. Oh, my God. They cut him in the beginning of the year. If not, he was played a lot last year and was so unproductive. Point guard. You know what I'm talking about?
He got cut this year?
Either beginning of this year or his last year was last year. He was a Phil Jackson Laker guy. Oh my God, he was on the championship Laker team's role player. Was he Italian or something? What was his name? I can't. Let me look at the Knicks roster from last year. I'll come up with it. But,
The Knicks have had so many outcasts. I'm like drawing a blank
I know.
right now.
It's so bad. I'll figure it out. But I don't know. I mean, is there anything to look forward to next year?
Whoever we draft. I mean, Troy Williams looks interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe Hardaway learns how to string together 3 games in a row, playing decent.
Oh, Kuzma. Well, by the way, Kuzminskis was the guy who I was thinking they drafted and was useless.
Mm-hmm.
Sasha Vujicic was the guy I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
Vujicic, horrible. Did Derrick Rose sign with someone, by the way?
Yeah, he went to Minnesota, looked good his first game there, and then got injured.
Just hang it up. It's over. I understood why he went to Minnesota because of the coach, but it's...
My buddy's a big Timberwolves fan, and he sent me a message during that Rose game. He's like, "Oh, Rose looks really good," and I just sent him back the Admiral Akbar gift that said it's a trap. And the very next
it's
day,
a trap.
the very next day, he got injured. I'm like, "See, never get excited about Rose."
No, because I think he was good for us in the beginning, and then that whole mysterious disappearing act he pulled.
Yeah.
And then he got hurt.
Yeah,
so bad. It's so. By the way, should we play you want to play Prices Right? You want to play how much can you get into the next Knicks game?
Sure.
All right, let me look it up, and you could. This is get in price. So shittiest seat.
It's disgusting when I look at other stadiums because it'll be like
$20.
Cheap, not even. Cheapest seat in Cleveland was like $8.
Oh, good Lord. All right, so the next game is April 3rd against Orlando. Let's play how much will it cost you to get in? And this is from StubHub. Don't cheat. It's not fun if you cheat.
No, I'm not going to cheat. It's a bad team.
Yep.
I'm going to say $56.
You were close. You did not go over, so you would have been eliminated on Price is Right. It was $70.
$70.
Only 2 tickets are left.
To see one of the worst teams in the league.
Well, because I guess they can win. So what do you think? So let's play the other game. Let's see if I can get to so many tickets. I mean, if I had to resell my tickets, I would have to kill myself. I want to see what the most expensive seats are. Like, who's delusional? All right. What do you think the most expensive seat to be had is?
$2,100.
You're not a horrible guess, considering $1,612.
Jesus.
Would you pay $1,612 to see this team? And you're not, and you're, I mean, you're I guess you're on the baseline. Okay. Really?
And that's the magic. So you can imagine, like, when the Warriors come to town, how much those seats are.
Oh, well, let's talk about that, right? So they have Cleveland left, right? Pretty similar rock show, right? So it's $139 to get in.
Jesus Christ.
Which is insane. So you're sitting way up there for $139. For VIP courtside 12. Holy moly. This is 2 mortgage payments for me, Jay.
Oh my God.
$6,000 is the most expensive.
That's even more than I thought it was going to be.
You were never going to guess it, so I didn't even bother. VIP courtside 12. Now, granted, there's another one going for only $4,600, and it actually gets good value. It gets a good value rating, whatever that means. That is insane.
Better be a good value rating for that much.
I mean, rich people are rich because they're good with their money, right? So you have to be rich to have that money to buy those tickets. Who's spending $6,000? LeBron James better be holding my beer and putting it up to my face and tipping it so I can drink it. Like, that's what we're talking about here, and that's not even enough. Then I need all of his groupies, his hot groupies, to come over and sit on my lap. Then I might consider it. That is insane. Unbelievable. You can't get into it. Like, a regular fan cannot get into a Knick game for under $70. Like, this would be the time. I remember, like, when they had Stephon Marbury, you could get, like, decent tickets back in that time when they were out of it.
For like $10.
Yeah. We saw, I think you were with me, we saw a really great, one of the instant classics on MSG where he went from the end of the floor to the end of the floor and got a layup to win the game.
Yes, I was at that game with you, yeah.
You remember that game?
I think we got $10 seats for that game.
And they weren't bad seats. I mean, they weren't great, but they were good enough. And we saw the play, and it wasn't like we were behind a pole or anything.
Yeah. And
now $70 if you want to go see Tankapalooza NBA style. Lovely. It's so bad. And the Nets aren't any better, by the way.
No.
It's just as expensive. But to your point, like, you go to Florida, if it was the reverse, you could probably get in Orlando for $5.
Yeah.
So
I bet courtside are just like $300.
Which is still too much, but
yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't want to sound cheap, but you know, maybe once I would do it. Listen, I went to a hockey game last night. I paid $100 to sit 12 rows up from the glass. And at least that was a playoff team I saw.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that's not bad.
No, it's not bad. And I'm willing to pay $100 if I'm going once or twice a year.
Mm-hmm.
But to pay $70 to sit all the way at the top of the garden, probably behind a basket, not even on a side view, I'm better off staying at home and watching on TV.
Exactly.
Actually, I'm better off watching, what's a crappy show? Oh, Roseanne. Is that too soon? No.
I just watched that like an hour ago.
Did you actually watch it?
Yeah, an hour ago, literally.
All right. Is it fair game to talk about it or no?
We could do it real quick.
All right, real quick. So, did you like the old one?
I did.
Okay. And then what did you think of the new one? Was it good?
I thought it was missing something.
And were you clamoring for this? Like, who was asking for it? Like, that's what I want to know. You know? But it got good ratings.
Yeah.
But anyway, I didn't like it, but, you know, back in the day. But whatever. I just think it's funny. It's just funny. Like, she's now outspoken and all this crap. But I'd honestly rather watch a show I don't like than watch the Knicks. That's where I'm getting at. But
what do you say we do some listener questions?
All right, listener questions. Let's do it.
All right, so we have Jorge writes, do y'all think Sam Hinkie deserves a statue? That core they got will win a championship, no question, in the next 5 years at least. So I watched the Philly game. They're going to be so good. I mean,
they are, but I feel like the basketball gods are going to pay them back for the way they did it, the process.
Yeah, but they did the whole process nice and clean. It was 4 years of bad, and now they have so many good players. Whereas, you know,
do you worry about Embiid? You don't think he's going to be like fragile at some point? Not like what's Odom in Portland, right? Like where he never played, but I don't know.
I'm not sure. He was healthy pretty much this whole season.
He was, and the
you can't count
injury. That's a freak accident.
Yeah,
and that could have happened to anybody. But
yeah,
I agree. You know, they're going to be good. Now if they get LeBron, which is a very good possibility, by the way.
I mean, I didn't realize Simmons was 6'10".
He is awesome. He's so good.
Yeah,
he can handle the ball. Like, he would be the Knicks' best point guard right now if he came.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he's that. I worry about Fultz's shot. It's so strange, and what he had to do. I mean, he's really. I think he seems dedicated. He seems like he's a hard worker, and he seemed like the right pick at the time. But I don't know. I don't know if that's going to come back to backfire on them.
Yeah, but even if Fultz is only halfway decent, they're a good team without Fultz. So if he's even like a 6th or 7th man, like.
True.
It just makes them better.
And they remember they blew a pick. The guy that's was he on the Nets now, right? The one that they had one of their first round tanker picks.
Michael Carter-Williams.
Yeah. So think about it. If they got that right, how good they would be.
And Okafor.
Right, Okafor was the guy I was thinking of.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, so they whiffed on 2 out of 4 of those, and they're still really good.
Yeah, I mean,
they made other smart moves. Like they ended up trading for Saric on draft day.
Yep.
And Rashawn Holmes looks good.
Yeah, they've got what's his face from Duke, the veteran.
Redick.
Yeah, he was a good pickup. He's solid. Yeah. He actually turned out to be a better NBA player than I thought he would be. I honestly thought he would be like a marginal kind of not Doug McDermott, but maybe even worse than what Doug McDermott turned out to be.
Yeah.
How's he doing anyway? I haven't looked at what he's done since they lost him.
I think he's playing like spot minutes.
Yeah. I actually liked him. He was pretty good for the Knicks the time he was here.
Knicks Film School tweeted that since 2000, no franchise has more losses than the Knicks.
Yet still, they never finished as the worst team.
I know, so, it's crazy.
They're consistent.
Do you know who the second and third are?
Second and third. Let me see. Let me just get a. I'm not going to cheat. I just need the teams in front of me. I would say the Bulls. No. No.
Well, I mean, you think about it. They had a bunch of good years with Rose,
20.
Snow, and
so
Gibson.
Go back to 98. I'm sorry, that was a stupid answer. Because I was going to say after Jordan left, they've been pretty bad. They had a couple good years.
They had some bad years, but yeah, they weren't like the worst.
Let me see. Well, the Sixers have to be there, right?
No, they were only bad for 4 years. They had that good run with. Well, first of all, they made the finals after 2000, and then they had a playoff team like 5 years ago with.
That's a tough question because the 20 years spans a lot of different things. How about the Hornets?
No. All right, maybe I'll give you a little hint. This team has the longest playoff drought in the league right
now. I should know this. Is that Orlando?
That is Minnesota.
Oh, it's Minnesota. That's right.
And number 3, I wouldn't have got either. It's the Wizards.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting because they've been halfway okay for. I know they were bad for a long time, but. Yeah, that's interesting. Minnesota, that makes sense. You forget about it because they're good now. That's funny. Wow. But how much are the Knicks up by, loss wise, on the next guy?
They are only 9 ahead of Minnesota, but they're more than 25 ahead of Washington.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's bad. That is so bad, so bad. And. You look back at the Denver trade. Denver seems to they look better than you would think.
Mm-hmm.
Every trade they've got, I don't know if they've ever made a good trade. I kind of wonder if they have.
The trade, didn't they trade? There was some trade involving David Lee.
Him or getting rid of him?
I think getting him.
Okay.
I think they traded to get his pick, and so if my memory serves me, and they did that, then they won one trade.
Okay. All right. You have any other questions?
Yes, we have. Noah writes, "How well do you guys remember the 1985 draft lottery, and do you think it was fixed? How much was it discussed at the time?"
Of course it was.
So
it had to be fixed.
Did you see the video, the frozen envelope, and all that?
No, I've not seen the video though.
So, the video of the draft, you haven't seen that?
I've watched the draft, but I've never seen. Yeah, the video. The whole controversy with the envelope. I've seen that.
Yeah, because when he's throwing the envelopes in, he kind of pauses when it's the Knicks one, and it looks like he throws it in differently. And so people are saying that the envelope was frozen. So when he threw it in differently, it bent the corner, and that's how they knew it was the Knicks. Also, when he was reaching in, it looked like he was feeling around. There's a few sketchy things there.
I could buy that conspiracy. I truly believe it. And look what it did for them. They lost to the Rockets in the NBA Finals. That's what it did for them.
I mean, it's not like the NBA is above shady things. I mean, it seems like a little bit too big of a coincidence that almost every time a superstar leaves a team that they win the draft lottery.
Well, Donaghy, right? Wasn't he a corrupt referee, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could name 5 rigged playoff series off the top of my head right now.
The Sacramento Laker one comes to mind.
Oh, yeah, the 0-2 Sacramento Lakers is one of the worst examples of it.
The San Antonio Phoenix one pissed me off a lot when Steve Nash got checked into the scorers table. Yep. I know he's Canadian, but we don't need to check him. Yeah.
And then there was the Dallas Miami Finals.
Yes.
And there was another Phoenix one against the Lakers, and I think in 2001 there was the Bucks got screwed big time.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot. Okay, Facebook questions.
Okay.
James writes, if both Trae Young and Mikal Bridges are available for the Knicks pick, who do you go with? The choice would have big implications for Frank.
Trae Young. He's like a poor man Steph Curry, right? I don't know.
Trae Young worries me with his defense, though.
Yeah, and
Really?
You know what? That team, granted, he was the only good player, but they were horrible in the second half of the year. They were bad. Mm-hmm. They didn't deserve to make the tournament bad. And are we really building around Porzingis? I think that's the question. Do they make a blockbuster trade? I don't know. I wish I could answer that. I don't know. They need a point guard. I still stand by they need a point guard. They don't need a shooter. They need a point guard. A guy that could actually be a point guard. I don't think they have it. Maybe you do, but I don't.
I mean, I think between Ntilikina and Burke, maybe you can get like 24 minutes out of each one.
I guess.
I don't know.
I don't like the platoon though. I've never been a big fan of the platoon. Like, when was the last? Like Mark Jackson, I guess, might be the last really good point. I mean, Derek Harper was good, but he wasn't great. I don't know. They'll screw it up. I don't think he's going to fall far enough. Do you think he'll fall far enough? Yeah.
I'm not sure. Trae Young is all over the map on mock drafts.
Yeah. I like Brunson. I'm a Brunson guy. I like that guy. He's a winner.
I don't know anything about him. I'll have to look into him.
Villanova. Rick Brunson's son. Come on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oscar writes, what can we trade to try and move up in the draft? Assuming we would pick 9th, would Lee, Moutier, Dodson, and our 9th pick be enough to try and pick between 3 and 5? Would you guys like such a trade?
So, what's the trade?
Lee, Moutier, Dodson, and our 9th pick.
For what, a top 3 pick? Who does that trade?
Somewhere between 3 and 5. Well, I don't think we can trade Moutier. I think he's an expiring.
Okay. So sign and trade maybe?
Yeah, it would be a sign and trade, but why? I don't think anybody would want Moutier.
No. And Courtney Lee's okay.
Courtney Lee's fine, but I don't think you move up 4 to 6 spots in the draft for him.
I don't think any of those players are valuable enough to and why would anyone want that whole, like, all of those guys in a trade? That doesn't seem to work.
I mean, I would do it, but I don't think another team would.
That's what I'm saying. I think people value the picks too much.
The only way that would happen is if a team was completely confident that the guy they wanted is going to fall in the draft.
Right.
And then they're like, fine, we'll take Lee and, get our guy anyway. But that's really risky. I mean...
Yeah. The only guy that has value... I think the only guy that has value on this team is Porzingis. like any trade value, and his trade value has gone down because of the injury.
I mean, no, I think Ntilikina has trade value.
He might.
Hardaway might have some.
Yeah, with the contract though.
I mean, 17 million's bad, but when you look at how guys like Marquise Chris and are making like close to 20.
Yeah.
Alan Crabb is making almost 20. Like, there's
Sure.
everyone went so nuts 2 years ago when the cap went up that like Hardaway's contract's bad, but it doesn't look as bad just because so many people made stupid moves 2 years ago.
They made it was a free for all because the cap went up. By the way, the 85-86 Knicks, the guy whoever asked that question kind of gave us a hint that they were the worst team that year.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that might be the only year they were the worst team, and still that was the first year of the lottery, and that without fixing it, that wasn't a guarantee that they were going to get that pick. So
and DeBusschere like showed up with a Ewing jersey. Like there was a lot of sketchy things.
It was in New York too, right? It was at the FL Forum.
Yeah.
So just think about that too. It was. I believe it was fixed. They should do like a show on like the best sports fixed theories.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's got it. That could be a 30 for 30 if it hasn't been one already.
You could. Gilliam writes, Trey Burke is playing great. His PR is 23, true shooting percentage 576, assist percentage 38.9, offensive BPM at 5.4, but has only played 616 minutes with the Knicks. How much sample size would you need to consider those numbers legitimate now that he has a system that works for him and all that?
The problem is there's going to be a new coach here next year, so it's a different system. Does that coach trust him?
Mm-hmm.
And again, like I think I started the podcast with, does it even count when we're playing games where it doesn't matter?
Well,
I think he's shown talent.
Mm-hmm.
There's value, and I think you got to give him a shot. He's cheap, right? So, yeah, I think you got to give him a shot. It depends on the coach they hire, though.
Yeah, I mean, this could just be a fluky hot streak, or, maybe the Knicks found a diamond in the rough. I would, definitely keep him next year.
He was good in college.
Yeah.
He's a great college player. And
there's a reason he was a top 10 pick.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, I think, you know what? They gave him a chance, and he kind of figured it out. And listen, some guys need some seasoning down in the minors, and that will happen.
Yeah.
And it sounds like the G League's going to become a big deal now. Like there's this one guy who's going to come right out of high school who's supposedly like a really decent high school guy, and he's going to go right to the G League because he thinks that's his best path to the league.
That's bad news for college ball.
Well, I think Adam Silver's smart, and I think he's going to try and make the G League kind of the new, kind of like baseball's minor league. I think, to your point, I think he's going to try and devalue, because with all this college controversy going on with, paying the players and all that stuff.
I'm all for it. I mean, it would be great if, you can basically have a farm team and develop players there, the way it works with baseball.
I'm amazed it hasn't happened sooner.
Yeah, me too. Gilliam writes, Chicago is only one game ahead in the tank race now, and they still have to play 2 times against the Nets. Are you hopeful of at least splitting the odds like last year against the T-Wolves? Is the tank back on?
I think the Nets are not as good of a tanking team as the Bulls are. I think that the Nets actually, play hard, and I think somehow the Bulls will come away losers in both. I really do. I just think the culture they're trying to build in Brooklyn, as bad as they might be, I think the Bulls are going to tank better than the Nets would. I don't know if you agree.
I think they split just to screw the Knicks.
You're probably right.
Because if either one of them wins 2 games, they probably go ahead of the Knicks. So if they both split it, then the Knicks could finish 1 game ahead of both of them.
Yeah.
Tristan writes, if Porzingis was traded last summer, what do you think Phil would have taken for him?
Picks at the time, probably, right?
Yeah, but it would probably... considering the other moves Phil made, it definitely would have been not worth what he did. I mean, he probably would have traded a pick that was too low.
Yeah. I still don't understand how they let him pick Ntilikina and then they ended up letting him go. Like, I'll never understand that move.
How what?
How they let him make the pick and then they were like, okay, you're fired.
Right,
Like,
right.
why did they even let him do it? Like, I'm fine with Ntilikina. I don't mind the pick. It just doesn't make any sense as to why he was allowed to even...
Right, like, hey, let's draft this triangle guy for this triangle offense that you guys are going to dump as soon as you fire me.
Yeah, like, goes back to, like, pick your own groceries. He couldn't, the next guy is just like, all right, well, here you go, Mills and who's the other guy? I forget his name. But good luck. I just picked your pick. It didn't make any sense. It's like there was no plan. So strange. So stupid.
Tristan,
the question.
oh no, we read that one. Gilliam writes, how is it possible that Beasley is at the same time the player who shoots the better from 3 at 410 and the guy who has the lowest 3-point attempt rate after the 3 bigs at 101 while not shooting a lot of long twos, 10th between Knicks in percentage of field goal attempts between 16 feet and 3-point line?
What?
So basically he shoots really good from the 3, but he has a low 3 attempt rate. And he also doesn't shoot a lot of long twos.
Well, long twos are the worst shot you could take in basketball now, according to analytics, right? Like, you might as well just step a foot back or a couple feet back and hit to take a 3.
I mean, everything about Beasley is confusing.
Well, his whole career has been confusing. He was supposed to be really awesome.
Yeah.
You know what? That's another pleasant surprise this year. I'll say that. We were, I guess that's lowered expectations, but we were expecting nothing and got something.
Yeah.
Do you want him back? I just don't think he's a plus player.
I mean, if you could get him cheap and you could make him like a 6th man because somebody needs to get buckets.
Like instant offense, kind of?
Yeah.
He is good for instant offense. I'll say that.
I mean, I wouldn't mind that because he can put up points.
Well, the biggest problem with this team is they're one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the league by far. They don't take them and they don't make them.
Yeah.
And in this league, you have to. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I ask me next week, I might say absolutely I don't want Beasley. And then the week after he'll go on a hot streak and I'm in love with him again. He's such a streaky player. I don't even know.
And he's not good defensively.
No. I've seen some plays where I'm yelling at the TV and then it seems like when he's engaged he can defend it right, but you never know if he's going to be engaged or not.
He's like he's a wild card. He's one of those players. It's like kind of a space cadet.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he's very Knicksian, and sure, let's keep him. But any good team would never. I mean, I'm amazed at what Cleveland's done with J.R. Smith. To be honest with you, I mean, they've turned him
this year. He's been terrible.
No, I hear you this year, but the fact that he even contributed at all ever.
Yeah, the fact that he contributed to a championship team is just not. Yeah. Makes my heart sink a little bit.
There were so many ex-Knicks all over that series too. It was so funny.
There's ex-Knicks and like pretty much. I love the playoffs. Is like find that Knick. There's one on almost every team.
Yeah. They should have an all-star team, the ex-Knicks all-star team. They should do that.
Because I mean, they don't develop and they give up on players like way too quickly all the time. So
it's very New Yorkian, right? Like just all New York teams outside of maybe the Yankees do that, right? Like the Rangers have been typically known to do that. The Mets do it. The Jets do it. The Giants not so much, although who knows with that. But it's a very like big market, big splash. That's the Carmelo trade is the typical New York move, which was the worst move they ever made.
To get him. You mean?
Yeah, to get him. Yeah. Because Donnie Walsh didn't want to do it, and he was right. Like, we're building something. We got something going here, and then like Dolan comes in. Oh, we got to get the biggest name out there, and look what that did.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Klay Thompson's back.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so they got everybody back except Curry. So
Curry, yeah.
that just made the playoffs a little bit more interesting.
But Curry, he hurt another part of his leg, right? Like was this his knee
Yeah.
or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the problem with him going forward now is he's an injury waiting to happen. He's always been injury prone, but now it's just getting worse and worse by the day.
Yeah.
So it's a shame. It's going to cut his career short, as my guess. But
Yeah, I would think so too.
yep.
And then Steven sent us about 25 messages telling us how wrong we were about Embiid and the Sixers and how they're really good and we're stupid. So thank you, Steven.
Well, maybe you should start the Philadelphia 76ers podcast and make up for your missteps.
Would be nice doing a podcast about a team that wins.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I wonder what it was like to be a Sixers fan, though. Like those years where they were so bad. I mean, real bad.
I mean, yeah, it was probably horrible and, a waste of a couple of years. On the other hand, you're seeing all these top draft picks come in.
But how much worse, right? Like compared to like what Knicks fans are going through now, how much worse was it? It probably wasn't that much worse. Is my point.
Because at least there was a plan. Like the Knicks have been just as bad
Yep.
and have nothing to show for it.
And they were unashamed about it. They were like, "We're going to lose, and
Yeah.
we're going to lose bad."
Yeah, but they said, it's going to work out. Eventually we're going to lose until we get the guy, and they got to the guys.
Yep.
And
now it's a destination
yeah,
where they can pick up free agents that may want to partner up with these guys.
yeah,
And it's a good market when they're good. Like the fans will get behind. I mean, the fans are very mean, but it's a good market when they're good. The place will get loud. It'll fill up, and it'll be an exciting city. But
exactly.
yeah, you know what? Cleveland's gonna. This is it for Cleveland, I would say, right? I mean, unless they re-sign LeBron, but I don't.
Yeah. I mean, even if they re-sign LeBron,
Well, he's automatic. He's automatically going to get you 50 wins, I feel like.
yeah, but I don't know if that team is good enough to I feel like they could be like a second round out going forward.
Yeah.
Like the rest of his team, like their best days are behind them.
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
is why I think LeBron's going to leave, because he does that. When he sees that it's not an automatic championship team, he's out.
Yeah, he follows the ring.
Yeah.
I will say I like the moves they did make. I mean, for what they had to deal with.
Yeah.
I think they were the right moves. I just don't know if it's championship caliber enough to get past Boston or Toronto. But
Or maybe they might have to get rid of both, get through both, depending on what seeding they are.
well, that's the thing, right? The higher they finish, the better off they are. Like to your point, like they have to finish almost third.
I mean, if they finish third, then Boston in the semifinals and the Raptors in the conference finals. So
Yeah.
it's not an easy road, and they probably might have to play. They might end up with Philly too.
Yep.
So
Yeah. And Embiid should be back.
yeah,
Probably with a matte face shield, but
yeah, he'll definitely have a face mask for a while.
yeah.
So we are at NY Knicks on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and Patreon. If you want to kick a little bit back to the show, you like what we're doing. We don't have any paid content, but Patreon, usually you put stuff behind a paywall. We don't do that. You can contribute as low as $1 a month and help support the show. Also, our website's thenewyorknickspodcast.com. You can get some Knicks podcast shirts there. And if you want to email us, nyknickspodcast@gmail.com. Do you want to plug your Twitter, Martin?
Nah, I'm good.
um,
No one cares what I have to say. That's why you had me on.
Anything else you want to talk about before we go?
No, I guess, what do you have? 2 more podcasts before the season ends, and then you got the playoffs?
Yeah, and then we, I guess,
To the draft?
really talking about draft and draft picks.
Yeah, I'm not even up on the what the draft is gonna be. I think we got to start really paying attention to that. But let's see how many ping pong balls we get. Now, do we have extra picks, right? Did we
Um,
trade extra second rounders? I feel like we got a second rounder out of a trade, did we not?
Yeah, the Knicks. Well, Hernan Gomez got the Knicks picks.
Right. They got a second rounder for him, I think.
So this year the Knicks have. Oh no, wait. I don't have that in front of me. I was very well prepared for that.
Sorry. I'm looking right now. Oh, no, they don't have it. Well, a preview for next week.
Yeah.
For those who are excited about next week, the Knicks have a draft pick in 2018. That's a Google thing. That's funny. You have to ask that because you never know if they're actually going to trade it away.
Know.
To the Bulls. Good Lord. I mean, it's bad. All right, well, it was fun talking about the worst team in basketball, in my opinion, but not record-wise.
Thank you for joining us. Pleasure as always.
Oh, thank you for having us.
You're not going to be able to hear the goodbye song, so if you want to just be quiet for 40 seconds.
I'll hum a tune.
All right.
All right.
Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody. It's all over. Goodbye. It's time to go. This is the end. Say goodbye.